Hi folks, BrickSidious here, back with another LEGO Star Wars video. I might as well join the bandwagon and talk about the new UCS Death Star set 75419, the most expensive LEGO set ever, US retail $1,000. I don't think it's the biggest piece count ever, but it's up there. I don't count the world map as highest number of pieces because it's just a bunch of one by ones. But this, in terms of probably the weight and the number of bricks, this might be the biggest. You you might have seen photos like comparing it to the previous UCS Death Star set, which is already quite big. This is looks to be, the diameter is probably double. So, you're definitely getting a big set, but is it worth it? And bigger is not always better. More expensive is not always better. And I've I thought about this, the exclusivity and whatnot. And I'm a big UCS collector, but I've really come to the conclusion that I don't want this set. I mean, like I mentioned, the size of it. I mean, look at this. Look how it sits on a table next to an adult person. Where are you going to display this in your home? I mean, you could put it on like your fireplace mantle or like on top of a like an end table by the wall, because obviously it has to. The backside is so ugly; it's not meant for display anyway. It has to be pressed against a wall. I guess you could mount it on a wall with some really good brackets and studs, hangers. But imagine this sitting on like a dresser or some sort of end table. It would dominate the room. It would look kind of out of place and in my opinion like too much, overpowering, kind of gaudy, not cool. I mean, the previous UCS Death Star, it would take up space because it was spherical. It has depth in the third dimension, so you needed like a tabletop or a deep shelves to store it on. So that was a little bit of a pain, but everyone knows that it's a spherical structure and iconic and immediately recognizable. I mean, you put this in your home, and I think, especially, it's been now so many years since the original trilogy. A lot of people may not even know what it is, and it's a lot of the rooms are very dark and gray, very monochrome. Like, at least with the previous UCF Death Stars, you had some color varieties here and there. But like I said, yeah, I think this poses a really problematic display challenge. And I assume, Lego designers are good. Like, they probably made the base very stable. But if you're in earthquake country, of course, this is a pizza slice of the Death Star. If there's enough rumbling, the set could fall forward or in the Z direction. So maybe you might need to anchor it to the wall behind it or something like that. Again, because it's so tall. So that has it going against it. Just practically speaking, I mean, the next is the price tag. Of course, it's in my opinion, pretty offensive. Like, Lego has raised its prices a lot as it gained in popularity since the pandemic, and good for them. They'll charge what the market is willing to pay, but this is a bit insulting. I think it's overboard. The Millennium Falcon, that great UCS set that may be retiring soon. The level of detail, the accuracy, everything. That set is the goat. Creme de la creme. And what it started out at like 699 maybe, and now it's like 800 something. I think this set should be the same price there. Just because this has nothing iconic going for it. It's like all the copies. The only thing it has is its size, which again is like not a good thing on its own. I think, in fact, it may be a detriment. All these scenes, diorama scenes, they've been done before in the previous UCS versions. The throne room, yeah, it looks better. It has more real estate to play with. The main laser weapon, the planet killing weapon. Now you get kind of you can see the back of it, like some of the machinery. But you had some of that in the old UCS playset as well. Well, yeah, let me get to the main laser actually next. Is that in my opinion, it just looks really stupid, really silly, just sticking out of the sidewall like that. Um, I mean, hardcore Star Wars fans, they'll know exactly what it is, and they'll probably be impressed by it. But it's it's a little awkward. It's I don't know. In my opinion, it just I can't put my finger on it, but it just diminishes it somehow. Here's another shot. I mean, yeah, if you look at the set from the side here, as somebody who doesn't know Star Wars, they'll be like, "What the heck was Lego thinking?" And then also one thing that the previous playset does better is the turbo lasers, the defensive turbo lasers on the side of the battle station. Really cool. Like they have a play feature where you can aim them, and they pan up and down and swivel. Everyone loved that. And then there was another section, I think, lower on yeah, I think it's here. There was another turbo laser manned by a Death Star gunner that you could see the whole thing. It had like a stand, and it would also rotate like everyone loved that aspect of the set. Now you just have this one turbo laser kind of sticking out of a port here. It's kind of an afterthought. You can't even see the crew if there is one from the main viewing side. You have to look at it from the side, I suppose. I just don't get it. Again, if this set was $500, sure, who cares? These little things are no big deal, but just to the high price tag, you really expect excellence, and I don't think they delivered it. Next to the minifigures, yeah, again, kind of disappointing in my opinion because yeah, sure, you get a ton of them, but they're all ones that every like major Lego Star Wars collector has already. Okay, maybe they have some different leg printing or this and that, but does that really make it more special than the previous versions of these characters? They don't to me. Yeah, everyone has these original trilogy: Luke, Leia, Chewie, etc. I mean, I forget. Maybe this dude is new here in the purple. One of the Emperor's like advisors or high priests or something. I forget his official name. In the previous UCS Death Stars, Grand Moff Tarkin, he was a great figure of high price. I hope he retains value. Krennic, you can get it from Krennic's shuttle. I mean, the only figure that I want of this set is Galen Erso, of course. That's a cool, unique one. So we'll see what people sell him for on Bricklink or whatnot later. But a bunch of stormtroopers, totally generic. You could have 20 of them. You could have 3 of them. It wouldn't matter. And then other Death Star crew. Yeah, I mean it's cool. Some have like different skin tones. I don't think they did that in the previous UCS Death Stars. And then the bathing stormtrooper. I forget his nickname. Something like it's a meme from the Lego Star Wars video game. I never played it, so it doesn't mean much to me. So yeah, I guess yeah, here maybe Admiral Yularen. I mean, you can get him in other sets too, but if you really are a big fan of him, even though he's such a minor character, I guess there's some value there. And then next, the docking bay. I will say that the room itself, it looks good. Like I will give them credit for that. Let me see. Let me get you a better photo here. Yeah, maybe this one's good enough. But the back paneling, the turbo lifts and everything, it looks very cool. You might have seen some people will put their MIDI scale Millennium Falcon here after it was pulled in from the tractor beam in episode 4. Yeah, that looks really good. But this Imperial shuttle, it's horrible. Like people were joking, you might have seen, the cockpit area. It looks like a horse head or a donkey head, right? Like excuse me, the joke is like Shrek's donkey or something. I I have to rewatch the movies, but like if you look at the UCS shuttle, the the hood, if you want to call it this, was flat. It was very angular and triangular, and that looked cool, kind of very naval functional. Man, I don't know why they curved this surface here. I don't. It might be canon, but I just think it makes the ship look quite silly, and then the scale of it. It's not minifig scale. It just looks quite bizarre. So I'm not a fan. And yeah, let me get to my previous point here. This Lego stock photo of like how you display the set in your home. If you're if you're like a wealthy millennial or something, it I don't think it looks very cool. And this is like Lego staging, trying to make it look as impressive as possible in a hypothetical home. It's really out of place with everything. And again, remember the size. I guess compared to this adult man here, it's got to be over 24 inches tall. So you can see this thing when most people do not have giant living rooms or Lego display rooms. So it would just be an eyesore, I think. Okay, now let me get to the Death Star gift with purchase, because that's another real sore spot for me. Let's go find it here. Yeah, this is the old GWP, of course, like TIE Fighter. Ah, I'm not going to bother searching for it. But you might have seen the gift with purchase basically is a really dinky TIE fighter and a few crewmen or stormtrooper figures that are not unique, not special. And I think the intention is that it can be mounted on a hanger, in the main docking bay, like this gap here next to the shuttle. And again, I think that just clutters the docking bay. Having this black area is actually pretty cool, where it has the effect of like looking out at space, and then the gift with purchase would just crowd that out. And I guess on the Lego site, it lists the official value, or the retail value of it is $30 or whatnot. I mean, for a set this historic and expensive, I'm not joking. Like, I think you should have a $100 to $200 value gift with purchase. Because I mean, Barad-dûr from Lord of the Rings, the big black tower, that came with like one of the ring wraiths on a beast, a flying dragon like beast. Sorry, I don't know all the Lord of the Rings lore. That was really cool, a really cool set. Uh, the resale value of that is like 100, easy. Previous Star Wars UCS sets, you'd get lightsabers, Luke and Yoda's lightsaber. Each of those could be, if you don't want it, to recoup some money, you could resell those for 100. And plenty of other examples. But this one with such a dinky $30 TIE Fighter gift with purchase, I mean, give me a break. It's because that's what I'll usually do. If maybe I'm not super thrilled about the UCS set, but if it comes with a good gift with purchase, I'll buy it, and then I'll sell the gift with purchase, because usually I only want to keep the big sets. I'll sell the gift with purchase to recoup some of my money, and then with the UCS set, I'll keep it mint in box. Maybe I'll feel like building it down the line, or I can just resell it, hopefully for near retail value, so that actually I made money on the transaction because I sold the GWP. So that's not possible in this case here. So yeah, that's enough ranting and complaining. I think you get the picture. I'm it's a pity because like I was planning, ooh, $1,000 Death Star, it's got to be epic. I was planning to buy this, but I just don't see the value in it. And for $1,000 you can get like three future UCS vehicles that are coming out. Who knows what's next? Maybe they'll come up with something really cool in 2026. But yeah, so I think for the bang for your buck, I'll save my money for other Lego sets. Okay, let me stop the video here, and then I will go to part two where we'll walk through old the old classic UCS Death Star, which you're probably familiar with it by now, but it has so many cool features that I want to show it to you to compare to the new guy, Mr. Disappointment here. Okay,
Here's
see you soon.
part two of the video with 75159 UCS Death Star remake from 2016. Retail, I think it sold for $499, which I think was overpriced at the time because it was $100 more than the previous 10188 version. And it really didn't have that many enhancements, but both versions are really cool and I think better than the 2025 version, at least bang for your buck. So kind of taking you a tour around here. Here are the turbo lasers that I was mentioning, which the new version kind of lacks. This is really cool, just like the movie. There's the gunner seat, and the the laser can swivel and tilt, and some sort of cargo bay here again with some nice colors with the droid and the yellow crane, breaking up the monotone gray and blacks. And the iconic Luke and Leia swinging across the chasm. It has some cool depth effects, so the room looks bigger than it really is. And of course, Obi-Wan deactivating the tractor beam. Of course, this scene in the 2025 set looks a lot better. I will give him credit for that. And the trash compactor, which is funny, it's pretty big in this set relative to the whole size. It looks kind of small to me in the 2025 set. I don't know the actual dimensions, but in the movie the walls were pretty high and stuff, so I think it diminishes it if you make this room too small. And then the next floor, yeah, again, you have the Death Star main cannon, which it looks a little weird, of course, not being connected to a wall here, but overall, I think it's pretty cool, and the mechanism, of like tilting it, it's a good play feature for kids and stuff, and a lot of details with the control panels. And this set's version of the hangar, of course, yeah, it's dinkier, smaller than the 2025, but I think they made good use of the space, and of course you get Vader's tie, which is better than just a standard tie. The throne room with the episode 6 battle, and then more turbo lasers up here are the ones that are synchronized, like I was telling you, with like Technic pieces, so that's a cool effect. Yeah, one of my favorite rooms, the detention block, that has that cool effect of with triangular pieces, making the corridor look really long. And I think there's a sticker in there that also helps with the depth effect. And then Tarkin's conference room where Vader chokes that guy. And yeah, the upper floor is not that interesting. Yeah, some sort of droid repair shop and crew control center. But yeah, really, there's nothing you can complain about this set. It's great. The price tag, of course, was pretty high for the time. I don't know how much you can get a used set for now. I think so. I did get this used from another collector. I want to say maybe I paid like $350 or something. I did, I tried to wait for a good deal and whatnot. And you can see here where it's kept in my bedroom on one of these like IKEA dressers. I forget the model name, but it's probably the depth is like 20 inches or so, I'd guess. So this Death Star takes up most of it, but next to it, the TV and stuff, it's not too imposing. It's a nice accent to the room. So yeah, hope let me know what your thoughts are for the 2025 versus the 2016 Death Star. Are you gonna shell out 1,000 for it, whatnot? I guess let's see how release day goes on October 4th. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time, and may the force be with you.